Hi there, welcome to this week's weekly Forex Forecast. It's Monday the 21st of March. Very busy week last week. We had two rate decisions. One out of the US, they moved their interest rates up for the first time since the pandemic. The first of many rate hikes we're expecting out of the US. That came as no surprise. US dollars coming under a little bit of pressure this week on the back of that. Buy the rumor, sell the fact. We also had a rate rise out of the UK, a much expected rate rise as well, so that's the second rate rise we're seeing there now. Same thing happening to the British pound, came under a little bit of pressure after the expected rate rise. We also had some good job numbers out of the Australian economy, so that's all looking good for the Australian economy. And of course we've still got the risk off play at the moment due to the turmoil and the horrific events going on there in Eastern Europe. So still a risk off play. The Japanese yen, it was the theme pretty much of last week, came under pressure throughout the trading week. So buying anything against the Japanese yen last week really would have paid dividends. Right, let's have a quick look then at what we're looking at this week. Now, in order to access this weekly report, head over to the forexsignals.com website to come to the landing page there with that good looking chap. Scroll right down to the bottom and you'll see up here Forex Forecast. Click on that there to pull up the forecast. Now if you want to get this sent directly to your email inbox, just pop your details in there. We'll send it to you the moment that it has been released. That way you will be ahead of the curve. Don't worry, we won't spam you or anything there. It's just a quick way of getting it. So let's have a quick look then what we're looking at this week. So Scott, he's looking at the S&P 500 coming off recent lows in a strong fashion, bringing into play the 200 moving average. So he's looking at the S&P 500 with a 4,400 level to watch. Okay, which is basically down around there at the moment. So he's looking at that play. You can go and read his analysis, what exactly he is looking at. Max is looking at the tech stocks again. He's bullish on tech stocks again this week for very good reason. He's looking at the level of 14,500. You've got the reasons in there as well. I am looking this week at the continuation of the pound weakness. Buy the rumor, sell the fact. Had the rate rise and now pound's coming under pressure. Commodity prices are strong. We're seeing commodity prices pushing up, which is obviously good for the Australian economy as well. As I say, good job numbers out of Australia as well. Maybe it's time they started to play catch up now with all the rate hikes going on around the world. So you can check out my analysis there. And also you've got the weekly overview here from Shane. He basically goes through each day by day, looking at the key events that could drive the market. So well worth getting your eyes focused on that. Good way to start your trading week, getting this Forex forecast so that you get a bit of a clue on what is going on for the week ahead. Right, now we'll jump on to the charts. We'll look at the economic calendar in more detail. Also look at how I draw support and resistance for my weekly trade planning. Come on, let's go. Okay, so let's have a quick look then here at the momentum meter. Remember, this tells us exactly where the currencies are at this moment in time. Unfortunately, it doesn't predict the future, but it does tell us where the money is flowing at the moment. And you can see here the color coding down on the left-hand side. You'll see the different currencies. And then these lines basically show you the strength and weakness. So you see here this green line. I've coloured mine green for the greenback. It's the US dollar. US dollar had a rate rise last week, as you know, but the US dollar on the daily now has been trading lower. This is the daily. You can switch and toggle between the different time periods on this to see how they're performing in the lower time frames should you wish to. But I like to start off with the daily and then work my way down to the 4 hour. I know some people love to use this for scalping, looking at what's going on the 15-minute chart and so forth. Gives you a clue on what maybe you should be trading. So at the moment we're seeing the US dollar coming under pressure, but equally, and it's been my theme of last week, basically this Japanese yen currency. Japanese yen has basically been trading to the downside pretty much all of last week. I was advocating buying the yen crosses. That basically means you're buying anything against the Japanese yen. When you're buying a currency pair, you're buying the base currency, that's the first currency, and you're selling the second currency, that's the quote currency. So anything against the Japanese yen is basically a currency that maybe you should be buying. Anything above the line normally is a currency that's looking strong. So something like the CAD yen and the Australian yen has been quite, even the Euro yen has been looking quite good for last week. So this basically shows us what's going on at the moment. Yen is still weak. You're seeing a bit of strength coming in to the end of last week from the British pound. Does seem to be faltering here at the moment on the lower time frame charts. As I said, we seem to see this is the pound now on the 1 hour chart, the white line. Okay, so the pound is under pressure on the lower time frame charts. You're seeing a bit of strength coming into the euro at the moment. Maybe there's something to look at in the euro against the pound at the time of recording. But that's basically where we are at the moment. So we're seeing some strength really on the in these commodity currencies. So the commodity currencies, the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, all strong. And the weaker, softer currencies, Japanese yen down there as well. And the US dollar is at the bottom of the pile. Remember that old saying, buy the rumour, sell the fact. We've had the rate rise in the US. Maybe it's time now to see some consolidation, bit of profit taking. There are lots of central bankers speaking this week out of the US. So maybe we'll have a bit more of a clue into the aggressiveness of their rate hiking cycle. But markets are already pricing in 3 more hikes before June. Right, let's have a quick look now at a couple of currency pairs, and I'll show you how I draw my support and resistance, which I do ahead of the trading week, normally on a Sunday, if I don't have much family stuff on. If not, certainly Monday morning when I get to my screens, just plotting out your weekly levels. Okay, so this example is the British pound against the Canadian dollar. Just randomly picked. The purpose of this is to show you how I draw my support and resistance lines on the higher time frame charts. Now, I encourage you to do this at the beginning of the week, maybe on a Sunday if you're not too busy with family. But to do this as early on in the beginning of the week as possible, not to do it on the fly, as it were, so that you're not going to get any bias coming in. Do it, pre-plan the week ahead, the key levels. And in order to get your win-loss ratio up, just don't be trading through these key levels. If you've got a profit target through a key level of support or a key level of resistance on the higher time frame charts, just leave the trade. You'll be amazed at how that improves your win-to-loss ratio. So I'll start off on the higher time frame charts. You see here on the right of the screen, I've got the weekly chart, I've got the daily here in the middle, and the 4 hour down there as well. You may want 4 time frames, but I like to normally just zone in on these 3 main time frames. So pick up the weekly chart, okay, expand that out. Now this looks quite confusing. So I like to remove all the noise, all the confusion, and I do that by using the line chart. So you can toggle between the line chart, and I like to plot these levels at key levels of the V shape or the A shape, or levels that have been respected more than once. Now the idea is not to plot too many, you just want the key levels. I certainly want to plot one in there. We bounced off it a number of times there. Back down here we had this zone down here where we bounced off it on the way up and bounced on the way back down again. So I'm going to put a level in there at the moment. If this market does want to drive on lower, that is likely to act as a level of support. There's definitely going to be one down there as well. And even down here, really, you'll see what I'm looking at down here. Basically with my mouse crosshairs, you can see we bounced off it a number of times. Okay, so that is going to be the weekly. Maybe we would have one in there as well. As I say, do this at the beginning of the week so you don't get caught up in that bias. And once you go back to the candlestick chart, it will all look, I think, a lot clearer. So these are key levels. You may want a few more up there, but you can do that in your own time. So we do that on the weekly, and then we drill down to the daily and do the same on the daily. I like to use a different color for the daily. Again, back to the line chart, and off we go again. So we'll have one definitely up there. We're going to have one maybe down there as well, and certainly in there would be a level I think will be respected. And we're going to have one in there as well, that big V shape in there. So we'll plop one in there as well. Then back to the candlestick chart. And these are our levels for the week, which we do at the beginning of the week. Let's just do one more. Okay, so this is the British pound against the US dollar, sometimes referred to as cable. Start off on the weekly line chart. And let's have a look. We'll pop them in. So we'll put one in there. You're going to have one up there. Remember, these are the weekly, so there's going to be less of them. One down there as well, and I think that would do it. Maybe we'll have one in this zone here, pretty much where we are at the moment, at around that zone there. You've got the V shape there, you've got the bounced off it there a number of times, and so forth. So that is that, and then we'll go to the line chart and plop in some dailies. There we go, certainly there. Back down here, we could have one potentially in there as well. Okay, so in and around there. Certainly we'll see one there as well. Bounce of it, big V there, and a bit of action there as well. Then back to the candlestick chart, and you're set for the week. So the idea, as I say, is not to have too many on here. So many that you end up not able to trade anything because of these levels. Just the key levels on the daily and the weekly really will improve your win-loss ratio. Just not taking trades through these key levels. Let's have a quick look now at the economic calendar for the week ahead. Okay, so in order to access this weekly economic calendar, head over to the forexsignals.com website. Then if you scroll right down to the bottom, you'll see all our bells and whistles, and you'll see here the weekly Forex economic calendar. Click on that. Basically pulls up the week ahead. So I like to look out for the next 7 days, and you can scroll down through. Anything that's red deemed to be high impact news, likely to have a big impact on the markets. Anything that's medium will be yellow. Anything that's green will be low impact news. So it's worth certainly getting your plan ahead, so you know that you're not going to be trading into a big news event. Could result in you getting stopped out of the trade before you've even had a chance to book the trade. So certainly worth knowing what's in store. So today we had some CPI numbers out of the UK. It's inflation, basically looking at 5.9%. The expectations are in the middle column. Last month is the previous column. When the news release comes out, it will populate here. And if it deviates much from what's expected, that's what will maybe impact the markets. Fed chair is speaking later today. Powell is on the wires on the heels of last week's FOMC. Be interesting to see what he is going to say in the form of forward guidance. We've got quite a few Fed speakers this week. It's very important when they get to the wires exactly what they have got in store for us. We've got the Bank of Japan. That is on Wednesday. Your time zones obviously will be different depending on where you're looking in the world, but it's all going to be out at the same time. Bank of Japan policy minute meeting, so that's an interesting one. For their forward guidance, what are they likely to be thinking in terms of their asset purchasing and so forth. We've got the Swiss bank interest rate decision as well. We always pay attention to interest rate decisions. So that's not likely to see a change, but again, the forward guidance, the monetary policy assessment comes out, which is maybe something more significant. We've got some PMI data out in the Eurozone and the UK as well. PMI stands for Purchasing Managers Index. So basically, it's a survey with the survey targeting the business leaders and manufacturing and so forth, asking them of their outlook ahead. Anything above 50 is deemed to be an economy that's expanding. Anything below 50, contracting. Central bankers love a PMI data because it is forward looking. And if you want to know exactly what the data releases are, just click on the data release and you'll see here it gives you an explanation on how you should be reading this and how the likely effects on the markets will be. So a bit of education in there for you as well. Durable goods later on in the week on the 24th. But apart from that, quite a quiet week. We've got UK retail sales on the 25th. they've got this down as medium. I quite like retail sales. I think it sometimes does impact the markets more so than the markets give credit for, or these analysts give credit for. So pay attention to that as well. And you've got some housing data in the US. Housing data is like the first chain of customer or consumer confidence. If people are confident about their futures, maybe they start investing in homes and so forth. So it's quite a good little indicator of that as well. So spend some time looking through the economic calendar. Make sure that you're not going to get caught out by a trade just ahead of a news release. But there may be some money making opportunities for you there as well. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. Now, if you want to get this weekly Forex forecast directly to your inbox, as I say, pop your details in there. That way you'll get it the moment that it has been released. Now, we are streaming live around the clock, myself, Shane, Scott and Max. If you want to come and join us, you can do so. Take out a 7-day free trial. I actually think there's a 50% promotion discount going on this week. So do go and check that out as well. Yeah, you've got a 7-day free trial as well. So if you don't like it, you don't have to stay and don't have to pay, but I'm sure you'll find it very useful. We basically look at strategies, we talk about key events and opportunities throughout the trading week. Don't forget, as always, follow us here on the socials. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube if you don't already do so. And that bell notification will notify you, of course, when we release the next video, which, as you know, is a couple of times a week. Okay, so that's about it. Have a good week. I'll see you next week.